Sports Illustrated, the most trivial, but it's true, how they're going out of their way. They went out of their way to leave LSU alone. Okay, after they got their ass kicked the other
right.
Like they can't not be in the playoffs, right? Because they're fucking LSU. Jesus.
They went
And
out of their way
of course, then the counter, the extra example, of course. Yeah, Ohio State's had a great 2 weeks. They haven't done anything. So therefore, they don't move down.
What's the deal with you saw the kid throwing the shoe during the Florida LSU game?
Yeah.
Dan Patrick called him LS shoe. You get it? Because it's a shoe.
Yeah.
And then it's not you. It's I'm sharing right now.
Hey now.
Is it showing up for you? Or do you have your iced coffee even today?
No, this is just iced tea.
I got you.
Oh, there it is. It ought to be in good condition here any moment.
We're already getting trolls. We haven't even started. That's so good. LOL. Nobody is watching you, just like nobody voted for Biden. Also, you're not funny. That's it. My feelings have been hurt.
Well, 2 of those 3 are right.
And here comes one of our fans. Thank you, the artist formerly known as Mr. Misanthrope. That's funny.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Wait a minute. A person who's watching us.
I know, saying that nobody's watching us. I get the irony.
By the way, that's the equivalent to on all the comments everywhere saying, never heard of whatever the subject is.
Why isn't the press covering blank, which I just read about or saw on CNN? Why?
Okay.
Ready.
It is the Brad and Britt cast for the midweek soiree here. And Britt, you and I have made a little blood pact here right now. We're going to see who can go down trivia lane, irrelevancy lane as much as possible. We are not going to handle the big issues we're not going to handle the fact that every aspect of our government is now available for perusal by Vladimir Putin. Everything in every department, everything. Because then I would be saying something pithy like, oh, let me get this straight. For the last 2 years, 3 years, Donald Trump is so oblivious and so stupid and such a shitty manager and knows nothing about the fucking world that his idea of bragging to the country and showing how big and strong he is to introduce security through Space Force. Meantime, every bit of information that matters about every department has been hacked and sent off to Russia. But we've got Space Force.
Right.
See, and I don't want to do that.
I'm glad you didn't do that.
We're not going to do that subject.
We're
not going to do that subject. What do you have?
On Tuesday's Brad and Britt cast, we talked about something out of Wisconsin called the cannibal sandwich. Remember that? It's just raw meat, basically. It's raw hamburger, and they put a bunch of onions and shit on it. Yeah. And I mentioned this
is a New Year's tradition.
It's something that they do. And I mentioned our friend Eric Kasdia, who is in charge of the Brad and Britt Wisconsin Bureau. And he tweeted to me specifically about this. And he said, okay, I will answer yes. I ate those from a young age, early as I can remember, born in 83 until 4 or 5 years ago when I went vegetarian. To answer your next question, never got sick. And yes, I enjoy them now. In these times, if I only ate meat, I would not eat that. So he's gone vegetarian. Extra part of this, another tweet from Eric. When y'all started talking about this story, I paused, joked with my wife about how I used to eat that, then walked away, hit play, and within seconds, I hear my name and just yelled out, fuck. Great show as always. There, Eric is admitting to the fact that he ate these for many, 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 many years. And he enjoyed them. And I don't know how he did that, but he did somehow, some way. It's weird.
Yeah, we'll probably hear more about that in other places in the next few weeks or so. Because they always go through the weirdest New Year's habits around the country in various cities. What's the one where they drop the possum?
They used to be in Western North Carolina, but I'm telling you, that never happened where I was from. And I was just from as big a redneck area as anywhere. We never dropped any damn possums. I'll tell you that right now.
So you'd like to say?
No, we ate possums. We had sex with them, but we never dropped one for. I mean, what did I say?
Okay, that's yours. That's pretty trivial. That doesn't affect anybody's life. But I think I can top you. I think now the emerging reporting about the people in Palm Beach saying, not just get off my lawn, just get off your lawn, you orange asshole. You're not moving into Mar-a-Lago. It's not a residence. You signed a fucking covenant, like your non-disclosure agreements that you make people sign, like those kind of. You signed one 30 years ago when you bought that steaming hulk of a wrecked place and agreed to make it into a resort only. It's not a residence, and you're not allowed to be there, I think, more than 7 days in a row.
Wow.
Or, there are all these rules. Now,
wow.
If this story follows what normally happens, of course he signed it. Of course that's true. Of course the people in Palm Beach are right. Of course they have the law on their side. Of course they have rule of law on their side. And of course, Trump will ignore it and dare them to sue him. Right? Isn't that how he does everything? Because remember, the rules don't apply to him, and he'll lose this, but he gets to be a victim.
Yeah.
And isn't that really the most important thing that
I would say so,
wants going forward here? He wants to be a continuing victim. And he will be, by the way, America's first, and he'll make fun of this concept as if it's funny, because it's real for tens of millions of people. I'm homeless and nobody cares about it. Ha, 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 ha. Right? That's what he'll do. That's what
absolutely.
He'll do. Yeah.
I was just reading about Melania removing her mask to read at a children's hospital. What's wrong with these people? First Lady Melania Trump broke stated mask policy at Children's National Hospital Tuesday when she removed her mask to read a holiday book to children.
Well, how close was she to them? Was she across? If she was across the room, it's okay. If she's sitting next to them, it's not okay.
I think she was a little bit away from them, but still, they wanted her to wear the mask the entire time.
So you're with the liberal jackal pack who have to pick on this woman. If Michelle Obama did it, you'd say, well, of course she did it. Everyone knows that you can understand more easily someone. Of course, but you have to pick on Melania because she's white, right? And
That's what it is.
White people.
I hate white people so much. I hate white people with a purple passion.
Yeah.
He just tweeted a couple of minutes ago. Apparently, there's hearings going on about election fraud, and it's going on live on the One America News Network. And he wants you to watch that. That's what Trump has just said.
Well, I think that if it gets down to where we get to January 6th and they're in the Congress, and a bunch of members of the House of Representatives, which has a true large number of cranks in it, just, QAnon members, dead enders, racists, just the worst cross-section of America seems to be in the Congress, and they have an R next to their name, and several of them are saying, particularly that piece of shit from Alabama, that Mo Brooks. Have you seen this guy?
He's the worst.
He is the worst.
He's so bad.
Although Alabama is going to probably top that because the new senator from Alabama is the former coach of Auburn,
Tommy Tuberville.
Tommy, he like that was the show with the 4 characters: Purple Tuberville, and Jerry Falwell made fun of it. Remember that one of the
Teletubbies? I believe Teletubbies is what you were. One of them was named Tinky Winky or something of that nature.
Right. So if a couple of them try to gum up the works and force a vote, which is what Mitch McConnell does not want. Right. Remember what the logic here is. If on January 6th, several members of the House, or even one member, and at least one member of the Senate, procedurally object to whatever the actual result is, which I'm told is Joe Biden winning in the Electoral College.
That's what I hear.
By a fairly sizable margin. But if they object for whatever reason, the election was rigged, blah, 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 blah. Apparently, there has to be a 2-hour session. Each chamber of the House, the Senate and the House, they have their own little meeting, and they have to, for 2 hours, talk about it, and then they vote. Do they uphold the objection of these members or not? And the reason McConnell doesn't want that to happen is because that forces every member of Congress to go on the record saying that they support the Constitution and the rule of law, and they know and realize that the election was the safest in American history. Of course it was. The Russians were busy fucking up and stealing shit from every government agency.
They were hacking.
They are so much smarter than us. They knew that our job number one was to make sure that what happened in 2016, which they deny and which Trump denies, which is that they helped sway the election. No, they didn't change the votes in the voting machines. We didn't say that. Fuck you for saying that, people. Fuck you. Try to bring up false equivalency there. We didn't say that, but they did interfere in the election, no doubt about it. So while we had the back door closed, they came in through the front door. Wait, while we had the front door closed, they came in through the back door, as they like to say, and stole all this information over the last 8 or 9 months. But McConnell does not want the public because, we have to keep humoring him. That's their whole thing, right?
Of course it is.
They have to keep humoring him, and I think it's a delightful quandary that they've put themselves in. But you have to lay that over the top of the fact that the day before, on the 5th, that's the election down in Georgia. So that sounds like a Republican train wreck. We should not get too confident. We don't think anything is in the bag. This is just like with the presidential election. They're running the ship down there, the Democrats, just like they're 20 points behind, and they got no shot at it. They don't. I mean, Biden was as good, I thought, on Tuesday, speaking forcefully as I've seen him. He was campaigning harder Tuesday in Georgia than he was for himself.
It's true.
Okay, he really was. He was out there. He was getting it done. And remember, they haven't brought in the big gun yet. Barack Obama.
They've got Obama. They got Michelle Obama. Yeah. They've got the Clintons. They can always use it. They need to use Bill Clinton. Jimmy Carter. Carter.
No Bill Clinton. Never Bill Clinton.
Never Bill Clinton.
You notice that no, Bill Clinton does not exist anymore.
Oh, that is so sad because I thought he was a fairly popular president.
No, because that's Hillary Clinton.
Oh,
nope. Sorry, guilt by association. Guilt by association.
But they look so nice counting. I saw them cast their votes together in the electoral college.
But there's a reason you didn't see Bill Clinton voting or campaigning for Joe Biden, and he wasn't at the convention, and he wasn't in any of those.
So he's done. It's over.
He's done. Yeah.
You don't think Bill Clinton can help at all in Georgia?
Nope.
What about Jimmy Carter? You think Jimmy Carter can help in Georgia?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether. I mean, he might be too frail right now to actually do that kind of thing.
Surely he can make. I mean, there's all this great footage. I think there was this great documentary that just came out about Jimmy Carter last year. about what a rock and roll president he was. And there's this great footage of him like getting in the face of all these Klan members that were protesting when he was running for president and stuff, and when he was running for governor. Oh, it's great shit. It's fantastic. I kind of wish he would be out there doing that stuff. But yes. Yeah. This is what they're trying to avoid.
He's 95. We're going to give him a pass if he says I can't do it.
He's a spry 95, though. I mean, he's like a much sprier 95 than you are at a much younger age, Brad. So he's doing just fine at this point.
Oh, turn it on the co-host. Hey, it's a new segment. We're going to rename this podcast. Britt turns it on the Jew.
That's right. During Hanukkah, I've decided to go all out anti-Jew during Hanukkah. A health worker in Alaska, Brad, had a serious allergic reaction after getting Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine on Tuesday and was hospitalized. They're still trying to get information about this. I guess this is going to hand all of the naysayers and the hand-wringers even more information that, oh, my God, these people didn't have what they were doing together. They didn't have the shit together, and now they're going to kill people with this vaccine. I think that's going to give everybody what they want out of this story, right?
Absolutely, because the last thing we want is to find out what happened. Did the person have some kind of conditions that might have made them more vulnerable to a reaction?
Right.
If 200,000 people take the vaccine and one has a reaction, should we just say, all right, fuck it, we'll wait another 5 years and keep testing because Donald Trump got it done too fast? Wait, no, Donald Trump should get credit for solving the come on, let's not. No, just no. It's one.
I think for the deal, I think the deal is if you're not someone who's severely allergic to stuff, I think you're okay. And if you are severely allergic to a variety of things, then yeah, you're going to be vulnerable to having an adverse reaction to this. I think that's what we're looking at, right?
I'm not even going to try to analyze the story because I don't know anything, and we don't know anything.
Well, you have to immediately do it because it's everything that you want.
No, this one, I'm not taking the bait on this one. I'm not going anywhere with this. He
was Trump was bitching more today about how Fox didn't help him out in 2020. He said that was perhaps the biggest difference in the election between 2016 and 2020 was that Fox they killed the golden goose.
Yeah, they weren't sucking up to him much, were they? They were bashing him at every turn, weren't they? Especially between 8 and 11 o'clock.
Oh, they killed him. They kicked his ass
every night. It was what has he done wrong there? Yeah.
I was like, Tucker, could you just please help Trump out, please, just for one night? Perhaps the biggest difference between 2016 and 2020 is Fox News. Despite the fact that I went from 63 million to 75 million votes, a record 12 million vote increase. Obama went down 3 million votes and won. Rigged election.
Wait a minute. Wait.
That's the tweet from the president.
Wait. So he's saying that he went as an incumbent president. Yeah. He gained 12 million votes.
That's right.
As an incumbent president,
Obama went down.
Obama got fewer votes
and still won.
It never matters how many votes the other guy gets in the election.
It doesn't matter. No.
It doesn't matter that Mitt Romney got a lot fewer votes than Obama in 2008, minus 3 million in 2012, right? Mm-hmm. That's not relevant here. Okay, just again, it's too stupid.
But it's
too
real.
Stupid, and no, it's not real.
It's
real.
Not
real.
It's real stupidity.
And it's not real. And you can't say, well, it's real because people believe what he says. No, it's not real. And you can't say, well, if enough people believe something, then maybe it's true because Donald Trump says it. That's what he wants. That's what dictators do. I keep saying it. It's a lie. It has no factual basis. It's crazy. It's upside down. You're supposed to give up every bit of intelligence you've ever gathered in however many years you've lived and put it aside and listen to me. I am the truth. I am God. I am Jesus. No. How many different ways does this guy figure out? By the way, does Rudy Giuliani know real estate law? Because I guess he'll be down in Palm Beach arguing to get Donald Trump into Mar-a-Lago as a resident, because he's so great at these other kinds of lawyering. He's probably an ace in a state that he's never lived in with a property law.
The guy that we were talking about before the show yesterday, who used to be on our radio show, he was postulating about the idea of Rudolph Giuliani becoming an attorney general, and he was like, "You just wait. You just wait till he releases the Kraken. You want to see Rudolph Giuliani as attorney general? He'll get some heads rolling."
Boy, did that get tired fast? That line,
really? I know.
Holy shit!
It's not even happening.
God.
This
the crap. And by the way, everybody doesn't know what that word means,
and it doesn't matter anyway. It's been
and truthfully, I don't really know what it means, but I know what it means. I didn't watch, what is that, Game of Thrones? Is that what that's from?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. So I didn't watch that show, but I know it's a reference to that. It's like, I know what winter is coming means.
Right. It's
the ultimate, so what?
It's like the ultimate weapon. It's like the kill-all switch in Missile Command back when we were kids. You can fall behind, you hit that thing, and everything dies.
Right.
But the Kraken turned out to not be a Kraken. It didn't crack so much. That tweet that I just read to you was preceded by this one. Can't believe how badly Fox News is doing in the ratings. They played right into the hands of the radical left Democrats and are floating in limbo land. Hiring fired Donna Brazil and worse, allowing endless negative and unedited commercials. Fox News is dead. Really sad! ! The tweet from the President of the United States of America 5 hours ago, Brad.
Wow. It's hard to believe that anything or anyone or anything floating in the universe could actually make Fox News into the victim, into the punching bag, because that's not how they are, right? They're always the bully. They're always the bully. Look, this goes back to, and we have several building blocks of the Brad and Britt cast going back with Trump over many, many years. And one of the original building blocks is that if you do business with Donald Trump, it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when it ends in tears for you. It happens with everyone. In fact, we'll put aside the little bet that we have over here. If it was about saving his children or himself from going to prison, who would Donald Trump save right now? Himself. We know that. So everyone that associates with Donald Trump, the relationship will end at some point, and it will be with tears. And you're seeing it right now with Fox News. And they know for their survival, they have to get beyond him. They cannot become the network of the alternative presidency. They can't do that. They can't take that side for the long term. And so they're slowly but surely, but not very successfully, I think, trying to pull away from Trump. And of course, with Trump, it's either 110% loyalty or nothing, or we're going to take you out to the guillotine. That's the problem. That's the problem with making any kind of Faustian bargain with Trump, because by definition, it's Faustian. Okay,
exactly.
You're going to lose. It may look good in the short term. It may gain you money. It may gain you fame. It may gain you the kind of notoriety that you've always wanted. It may gain you the love of people who watch Fox News and read Breitbart and all those kinds of right. That world is seductive, I'm very sure, for people who've decided to join. Speaking of that, I read a piece today. It was on Fox.com, and it was about the Happy Days reunion. And it targeted in on Donnie Most, who turned out to be a pretty decent guy. Guess he's done. He's directed some. He's doing some acting.
The great Ralph show. He's been by far the most successful director to come out of that show. Oh, wait a minute, maybe there was one other guy.
Right. But he said he has a good relationship with everybody that's on the show that's still there. He said, well, it's sometimes a little hard to get Ron Howard to pick up the phone. He's a little busy sometimes.
He's got a lot of stuff.
But then the question came up about Scott Baio, who, of course, guess what? Skipped the reunion because he's an off the charts, completely in the tank hack for Trump. And, too bad, but that's life. And you and I both know a few people in common that we used to be friends with that we don't talk to anymore because you just can't talk to them.
Can't deal with it.
You can't deal with it. There's nothing left to be said. And even at this hour, at this day, this minute, they're as bad as ever. There's still a shot at Trump taking it. He's still got it in the bag.
Yeah. This isn't over and all that other shit. This January the 6th thing, and then my heart has to go out to, Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham, who sucked this man's ass as well as anybody, and they're getting no credit. They're being lumped in with everybody at Fox News for not helping him out. Isn't that really sad that these people
you're worried about the Civil War at Fox?
They were so sycophantic, and they did such a great job of ass sucking, and now they're getting zero credit for it, Brad.
All right, I'm going to really go far down the bad analogy rabbit hole on this. Fortunately, they have the Fox News 21st century generation Henry Kissinger. His name is Geraldo. Geraldo plays both sides of the fence on that channel. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed.
He's the worst. You talk about a guy that sold out 20 years ago because basically it was over for him.
Yeah, it
was. Geraldo Rivera was just a flat out lib. He was a lefty his whole life, and
he was, and it's sad, but for a decent portion of his career, he was a really good investigative reporter.
The best there was. Speaking of switching, you saw that on Tuesday, Steve Schmidt, the man who gave the world Sarah Palin,
right,
back in another life when he was running John McCain's campaign.
He's redeemed himself.
But he has apologized, and
yes.
I forgive him. We forgive him. And he has been part of the Lincoln Project, a charter never Trumper. And he was one of these guys that for the last 4 years was as eloquent as anybody. I mean, his rants are epic. They are epic. He is as glib and able to talk for 6, 8, 10 minutes at a time and make total sense, never make a grammatical error, never stumble over himself, and put out brilliant ideas as well as anyone I've ever heard. But he's always been part of that slightly annoying group of people who I've left the Republican Party and then they stop. They don't say anything more. And we've always said, hey, you need to do more than that. You can't play I'm an independent, I'm voting third party, I'm going to do a write-in, but I'm really a Republican, and as soon as Donald Trump leaves and we get rid of Trumpism, I'm back. He wasn't like that, but he still didn't go all the way until Tuesday when he said, I am registering today as a Democrat. I am joining the Democratic Party because there's only one party left in this country that believes in democracy, in American ideals, and it is still the Democratic Party. And, the Democratic Party stretches all the way from AOC to Joe Manchin, the senator from West Virginia. That's a wide swath of ideology. And Schmidt says, look, I don't agree with AOC on a lot of stuff, but that's not the point right now. I can live with higher taxes, things I don't agree with. I can't live without a democratic government, small d. I can't live without elections.
People deciding exactly.
Right. I can't live in a dictatorship because if the taxes are too high, we can change those. We can argue about those. We can debate those. That's been the American tradition for 230 years. But the Republican Party does not believe in that. And we've seen it, and we've seen it bubbling up for years and years and years and years, now coalescing to the point where, and they're open about it. They do not believe that the Democratic Party or anyone in the Democratic Party should be allowed to win an election when they've won an election. So that belief gives them, they think, license to do whatever it takes to change the outcome of an election. However they want to cheat, however they want to suppress the vote, whatever laws need to be passed to make sure that through gerrymandering and all the things that are being done to try to suppress that largely traditional Democratic vote, they are justified in doing it. And now we've crossed over this line in the post-Trump era, which we're almost there, where he is calling for insurrection in the streets. He's calling for violence. That's what Donald Trump is saying. He wants everybody to show up at the state house in any state where there's a Democratic governor and harass the governor or the Secretary of State.
AR-15s, absolutely, with all the ammo they can muster.
And we're not surprised at that. They were doing that back in Michigan when? In March? In April?
Back in the spring, that's right.
They were doing it in the spring. And so I give absolute credit to Steve Schmidt, and hats off to him for going all the way, because that's what we have to do to save the country right now. We have to. Now, I understand if we were a couple of right-wing reactionary asshole podcasters, we'd be saying the opposite. Joe Biden cannot be allowed to blah, 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 blah. Radical socialists, Raphael Warnock, John Ossoff, radical social, which we know that's not true.
No, it's not.
We absolutely know that there's not a shred of truth of that, which brings us to the young man who is now the U.S. House of Representatives guy from Western North Carolina, Madison Cawthorn. Have you seen what this guy has been up to lately?
Well, let's refresh everybody's memory. This was the guy that thought it was really fantastic to have a picture taken at Hitler's bunker and to celebrate his hero, Adolf Hitler. What's he been up to lately, Brad?
Well, he's
by the way, you would have thought that would have disqualified him from winning in Western North Carolina, but unfortunately, even with the redistricting, he ended up winning the election after all of that.
Right. Well, he decided to inject himself into the Georgia Senate race because he's not too far away from Georgia.
It's true.
That part of
that's right.
That part of North Carolina. So here is what he said about Raphael Warnock, who, of course, is a son of Georgia, right? What does he have, 11 brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Grew up there. He's the only one who went to college.
Goes back generations, I think.
Is now the presiding pastor at the Ebenezer Baptist Church where Martin Luther King preached many, many years ago. And here's the exact quote. Ready? This Warnock fella who, quote, says he's a pastor, who says he's a pastor is disguising himself.
Is he?
Saying that he is lying to achieve high political office. He wants to defund the police. No, he doesn't. He is an abortion supporter.
Is he?
Here we go again.
Is he really?
You can't trust. He's a fucking racist, that guy.
Oh, big time.
That's all he is.
And it's not even close. He doesn't even try to couch it at all. By the way, Raphael Warnock was born in Savannah, Georgia, grew up in public housing. His father, this is how un-American his dad was. Get ready for your socialist credentials here. Yeah. His father served in the U.S. Army during World War II, where he learned automobile mechanics and welding, and subsequently opened a small car restoration business where he restored junk cars for resale. Have you ever heard a resume that's more socialist than that in your entire life, Brad?
Well, what kind of meetings was he going to late at night?
Warnock then graduated from high school. He went to Morehouse College because he wanted to follow in the footsteps of Martin Luther King Jr., and he was able to enroll in early college courses through Savannah State, Master of Divinity from some place called Union Theological Seminary, which is in Manhattan, which is affiliated with Columbia University. So absolutely right. He's a fake pastor. He's a complete socialist. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes by and just yanks babies right out of their mothers and butchers them right in front of them, Brad. I believe that's what Reverend Warnock is doing, even as we speak, in the streets of Atlanta. Yeah. God, Madison Cawthorn is such a fucking tool.
All right, I got a better version here, which is titled "On Fox News, Madison Cawthorn uses racist dog whistles against Raphael Warnock. If we cede control of our Senate and really all of Washington, D.C. to the Democrats, it's not going to represent the values of my home, North Carolina, and certainly not the values of Georgia and the values of most of the people of the United States. You see this Warnock fella who's coming down here and disguising himself. Coming down here. Fuck you.
Coming down? What is that? He's a carpetbagger too?
Just fuck you. You know why? Because dumb white people, when a dumb white person says that to them, they just take it. Well, that person is telling me the truth. And this Warnock fellow, he's really not from around here. Even if he's from around here, even if you know it's the lie. Everything is the big lie.
On top of everything else, on top of everything else in 2020, this year has ruined the reputation of guys in wheelchairs. Between Madison Cawthorn and the governor of Texas, we realized that people in wheelchairs can be complete assholes too. right? You would think that people who ended up in a wheelchair would have some sort of empathy or sympathy or some sort of insight into humanity. But no, these guys are just freaking dicks 24/7, 365.
I hear you.
With no empathy whatsoever toward anybody. So
I got you.
They've even in this year, it just ruins the reputation of guys in wheelchairs.
Hey, let's talk about Mayor Pete as the transportation secretary. Sure. I think it's a great selection. And again, I read too much crap that the immediate pushback was, he was the mayor of a little shitty city, like he's qualified to run the transit. What does he know about blah, blah, blah? Right. Okay. It's the Department of Transportation. Department of Transportation is about the bridges and the airports and the way we get around and the infrastructure and leadership.
How many infrastructure weeks have we had during the Trump administration?
Well, that's why Trump is so great, because he's had it so many times. And by the way, the most important thing, and again, couched in a lot of these comments, is of course a gay slur. Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's true.
Which the only reason Biden gave him the job is because he's gay. Right. Okay. Right. But wait.
Does this mean that Biden is secretly gay too?
But wait. The transportation secretary, under Donald Trump, has been one of the only cabinet members who's gone all the way through. Elaine Chao. And who is she married to, Britt?
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell. Yeah. Now, if that isn't deep state nepotism cousin fucking, I don't know what is. Okay? How qualified was she? And by the way, if you look at her bio, if you look up every article will say she is the first Asian American to blah, blah, blah. So the Republicans bitch about identity politics, but they go out of their way every time to put that at the front of her bio, not the fact you have to look hard. You have to know that she's married to Mitch McConnell, because they hide that, because they don't, right? You would never want to know that.
They try.
And that's what's so amazing, that Mitch McConnell could be emblematic or related to the great Southern racist fuckwad senators of the mid and early 20th century, the John Stennises, the Strom Thurmonds, the James Eastlands. There's a million of them. He's just like them. He's just like them. And he's married to an Asian American. How does that play at home? How do you look your Asian American wife in? How does that work? I guess we're going to find that out at some point when it's all over. The same way we're going to find out about the Conway marriage when this is all over. On how does that work at the dinner table?
And you really haven't heard the secretary or the senator say anything about when they start spouting from the White House about the Kung flu, have you? About the Chinese flu? You haven't heard them go, no, don't do that. That's not, no. You haven't really heard them. They just kind of let that go for some reason. It's odd. But anytime somebody from the left says anything about, oh my God, you're being racist and you can't handle the fact that she's Asian. Why are you being so racist? But motherfuckers up at the White House can talk about the Kung flu and the Chinese flu anytime they want to, and that just goes right by them. No problem whatsoever with that shit. It says here the Department of Transportation has 55,000 human beings employed and a budget of about $75.5 billion, Brad. That's a big department. That's a huge department for people who should run, for sure. But I think he's up to it.
Right. So he's only run, if you're the mayor of a city, okay, of any size, I'm not talking about a town of 400. Like Wasilla, Alaska, for instance. I'm just picking out a name of a small town that doesn't have a lot of people.
That's funny.
But I think South Bend is about 100,000 people.
It has about 1,000 employees, according to my information. 1,000 city employees in South Bend, Indiana.
But the job of being a mayor of a city, whether it's 100,000 people or 1 million people, is the same. There has to be a police force. There has to be a fire department. You have housing issues. You have transportation issues.
That's right.
You have all those kinds of things.
Somebody's got to pick up the trash. Somebody's got to deal with the feces of everybody. Right. All those things have to happen.
And I would submit to you, there's absolutely no evidence that if you were the mayor of Chicago instead of South Bend, that automatically makes you more qualified. Now, Anthony Fox, who was the mayor of Charlotte, became the transportation secretary the last couple of years of Obama's presidency. Apparently, Charlotte was big enough. All right, Charlotte was substantial enough. But I think Buttigieg, considering his credentials as a military guy, a Rhodes Scholar, all those kinds of things, mayor of a city, he's really he's an old soul, I think.
Oh, I agree.
I think, what is he, 38, 39?
Right.
But he really plays to me like he's 52 and has been around the block. I think he's a good choice, and I cannot imagine that he wouldn't get voted through pretty.
Oh, he's going to do fine. He's just crazy smart. I mean, he's just eat up with intelligence. You can just tell this guy's like the smartest guy ever.
Now, I didn't watch enough Fox to see whether they dragged up the clip of Pete Buttigieg during the election debates. Remember, there was one time, I think, where he actually turned to Biden and said, we really do need new leadership in this party. We need to look forward. It was a shot at Biden's age. And of course it's nothing, but they love to play those kinds of clips later on to remind Joe, didn't you know he said this about you? Aren't you aware of that?
And he was also one of the most eloquent and vocal defenders of Joe Biden during the debate season. I mean, he was in the spin room. They don't put idiots in the spin room. He was amazing.
Well, he was with him in South Carolina. I think he was standing there when Clyburn made the endorsement for the South Carolina primary. But he's a pretty good choice. He's okay. I'm good with that.
Let's dive deeply into something that you mentioned earlier. Some of America's most deeply held secrets may have been stolen in a disciplined months-long operation being blamed on elite Russian government hackers. The possibility of what might have been purloined are mind-boggling, according to the Associated Press. Could hackers have obtained nuclear secrets, COVID-19 vaccine data, blueprints for next-generation weapon systems? It will take weeks, maybe years in some cases, for digital sleuths combing through the U.S. government and private industry networks to get the answer. These hackers are consummate pros at covering their tracks, experts say. Some theft may never be detected. What they're saying is that the Russians put some malware into these computers, which just stayed dormant for a long, long time, months, and then all of a sudden they sprang into action, Brad. And this information, there's never been a better president for Russia in that White House than Donald Trump. They were able to, with impunity, put bounties on American servicemen, right? And there's been no answer at all from anyone in the White House about that.
Well, forget the answer. Could you at least have a comment?
Something.
Hey, and by the way, for the last 3 days, could you at least have a comment about the fact that the crown jewels of information in multiple departments of the United States government have been compromised, and Trump has nothing to say about it? He's too busy tweeting about the Dominion voting machines being secretly run by the ghost of Hugo Chavez, changing votes. We know that.
Right.
So these last 35 days, I mean, you can't count them down fast enough, can you? No. What else can go wrong on it? But on the other hand, we've got Space Force. We've got Space Force, and we're good.
Is that something that Joe Biden is going to continue? Do you think he'll try to plow money into Space Force, or he'll finally say, no, that's a dumb idea. We're going to use that money to educate people and like give people health care and shit like that? Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't think it's an either or.
Yeah, I agree.
It's probably not that much money, but because Clownstick von Fuckface makes announcements of things like that as if he has literally just cured the coronavirus. Oh, he did.
Yeah,
no, he didn't.
He did not.
He didn't. Like he cured cancer. It takes on more prominence than it really should. And by the way, that fuckface Mark Thiessen, who writes the column in the Washington Post, where you want to wring his neck every time he writes one. They run it in our local paper here too.
Right.
He's a speechwriter for I guess for Bush. His column today is about just give Trump credit for whipping the coronavirus with Operation Warp Speed. Just give him the credit. which is, this is a symptom of just humor him, make him feel good. See, here's the problem.
This is the title of the piece in the Washington Post. Giving Trump credit for the vaccine is the best way for Biden to unite the country.
Yeah.
So if Joe Biden doesn't praise Donald Trump, then he's not trying to unite this country, Brad.
If you have it in front, read the last little paragraph there. I think that sums it up.
I'm reading it from the Washington Post.
Right. Get to the last.
Okay. Perhaps given Trump's terrible behavior,
yeah,
Biden is in no mood to praise the president, but it's not about Trump. It's about Biden delivering on his promise to reach out to his opponent's supporters and bring Americans together. If he truly wants to unite the country, he should give credit where credit is due and pledge to continue Operation Warp Speed.
All right. First of all, clearly, Operation Warp Speed is not being dismantled right now.
No, it's over.
It's
over January the 21st.
It's not over. Right.
And I'd like to stay for the parade, guys, but I got to go and I got to go kill Warp Speed. I'll be right back.
And number two, I guarantee you, without prodding from Mark Thiessen, that Joe Biden will give credit where it is due. It is difficult, if not impossible, and not necessary at this moment for Joe Biden to be giving Donald Trump credit for anything. You get credit after you've left office. You get credit from history, but you don't get credit in real time if you're trying to sabotage the entire government, if you're trying to sabotage the deep state, if you're trying to upend the transition, if you're not acknowledging the truth of the election. So to carve out this little slice of, if you would just give Donald Trump credit, everybody who's a Republican who's voted for Trump, the sycophants, Sean Hannity himself, would suddenly grow flowers out of his head and say, wow, Joe Biden, he's a uniter. He said that Donald Trump, who completely squashed any remarkable or important response to the important coronavirus, which was ravaging through America, decided that the vaccine was the only thing that mattered. And so he threw all the resources he could at finding a vaccine through these public-private partnerships. That'll change the country. That'll change the tone of how we're thinking. Bullshit, just bullshit. Trump will be in the books when this is all over 5 years from now as being the impetus behind Operation Warp Speed, but he didn't do it. He didn't do anything.
No, he didn't.
Okay. He didn't really do anything. When Donald Trump doesn't get in the way of something, when he doesn't do the absolute worst thing, we're supposed to give him full credit to make him feel good. Well, sorry, you've left too much shit in the forest for us to do that. Not going to do it right now. And good luck house hunting in Palm Beach County. There's a lot of good land there still, I'm sure.